In 2025, U.S. immigration law underwent a seismic shift, ushering in a new era that has already begun to reshape the nation's approach to borders, citizenship, and community life. This transformation was set in motion with the signing of a sweeping new law on July 4th, a date chosen for its symbolism of national identity and change. The focus of policy has moved sharply toward enforcement and security, marking a clear and deliberate break from previous, more lenient approaches that emphasize pathways to citizenship and humanitarian relief. Billions of dollars are now being funneled into border security and federal agencies. Thousands of new agents have been hired, and border infrastructure is being rapidly expanded, with new technology and physical barriers deployed along key entry points. This enforcement-first model has triggered widespread fear and uncertainty in immigrant communities. The visible increase in immigration agents patrolling neighborhoods has left many families feeling vulnerable and unsure about their future. States are responding in dramatically different ways, some passing laws to shield immigrants and provide sanctuary, while others are supporting the federal crackdown, resulting in a patchwork of conflicting laws and enforcement practices across the country. Understanding these sweeping changes is now crucial for anyone navigating the new system, whether you're an immigrant, an employer, or a community advocate. The impact of these policies reaches into daily life, affecting family stability, children's education, and access to essential services like healthcare and legal assistance. In this new era, it's more important than ever to stay informed. Let's break down what these changes mean for you, your loved ones, and your community. On July 4, 2025, in a moment that captured the nation's attention, the One Big Beautiful Bill, H.R. 1, was signed into law. The date, chosen for its symbolism, marked a new chapter in American policy as the country celebrated its independence with a legislative move that would reshape its future. This bill represents the most sweeping and significant overhaul of U.S. immigration policy in decades, drawing comparisons to landmark reforms of the past. News outlets across the country buzzed with headlines, and the public response was immediate and intense. Passed with a simple majority in Congress, the bill redirects over $170 billion in federal funds toward border and immigration enforcement. The law's core provisions are far-reaching and controversial. Media, government budget documents, U.S. Border Patrol agents at work, rows of detention center beds. It expands the capacity and scope of immigrant detention, allowing for longer and more widespread detentions than ever before. It accelerates the construction of the border wall, with new sections rising rapidly along the southern border, and funds advanced surveillance technology. It also provides substantial funding for state-level enforcement, empowering local authorities to play a larger role in immigration control. However, critics warn that the bill dismantles many legal immigration pathways, making it much harder for people to come to the U.S. legally. The introduction of high, non-waivable fees for applications means that for many families, the dream of legal status is now financially out of reach. Vulnerable populations, including children and asylum seekers, now face weakened legal protections and greater uncertainty. Human rights groups have raised alarms about the potential for increased family separations and the long-term impact on children. The bill's passage was both swift and deeply divisive, igniting passionate debate and further deepening partisan rifts in Congress and across the nation. Supporters argue that these measures are necessary to restore order and security at the border, claiming the bill will protect American jobs and communities. Opponents, meanwhile, see the law as draconian, warning that it will tear families apart and undermine America's tradition as a nation of immigrants. No matter where you stand, one thing is clear: the United States is now on a far more aggressive and uncertain immigration path, with consequences that will unfold for years to come. The new law injects unprecedented funding into ICE and Border Patrol, hiring thousands of new agents. Detention capacity is set to soar, with a goal of 125,000 beds, signaling a shift toward mandatory detention. Block grants now empower states to join federal crackdowns, blurring lines between local and federal enforcement. Critics warn of racial profiling and lack of oversight as states ramp up their own operations. The message is clear: enforcement is the top priority, with billions backing a formidable control apparatus. For immigrants, this means a heightened risk of detention and a more precarious daily existence. The enforcement machine is now larger and more deeply embedded in American life. Billions are being spent to expand the border wall and build new detention centers, many run by private corporations. The law's philosophy is clear control through physical barriers and mass detention. Detention capacity is being expanded to unprecedented levels, reducing alternatives and increasing the risk of indefinite confinement. Legal protections for detainees, especially children, have been rolled back, making it harder to challenge poor conditions. Human rights groups warn of due process violations and inhumane treatment. The border wall keeps people out. Detention centers keep them in. For many, the system now means facing walls, literal and legal, at every turn. The new law makes legal immigration harder and more expensive, with steep mandatory fees for nearly all applications. Many low-income families are effectively priced out, while caps on immigration judges worsen court backlogs. Immigrants now face years of uncertainty, with cases stalled and families separated. Critics say the system is designed to deter legal immigration, not facilitate it. Bureaucratic and financial barriers create an invisible wall around legal status. The focus remains on enforcement, not on building a fair or accessible system. For many, the American dream is now more distant and costly than ever. In recent years, the federal government has shifted more responsibility for immigration enforcement to the states, encouraging them to take a more active role. To make this happen, it offers substantial funding pools and other incentives, hoping to motivate states to ramp up their own efforts and adopt tougher measures. Some states, particularly those with Republican leadership, have responded by enacting stricter laws. These measures often restrict access to public services, such as healthcare, education, and housing, for undocumented immigrants. In some places, law enforcement is required to check immigration status during routine stops, making daily life more challenging for many. Meanwhile, states like California have taken a different approach. By passing sanctuary laws, they aim to shield immigrants from federal agents, especially in sensitive locations like schools, hospitals, and courthouses. These laws are designed to foster trust between immigrant communities and local authorities, ensuring that people feel safe seeking help when needed. The result is a confusing patchwork of policies across the country. Now, an immigrant's rights and access to essential services can vary dramatically depending on which state, or even which city, they call home. This has led to rising legal and political tensions. States are clashing with federal directives, while civil rights groups challenge aggressive enforcement in court, arguing that these policies violate basic rights and create fear in vulnerable communities. As a result, states have become battlegrounds in the national immigration debate with millions of people, immigrants and citizens alike, caught in the crossfire, uncertain about their future. The divide between states is deepening, and the stakes for immigrant communities are higher than ever before. Families are forced to make difficult choices, sometimes even moving across state lines in search of safety and opportunity. In today's America, geography now plays a powerful role in shaping the immigrant experience, determining not just where people live, but how they live, and what rights they can claim. The crackdown has created a climate of fear, with ICE agents more visible and raids more frequent. Many immigrants, even those with legal status, now avoid routine activities out of fear of detention or deportation. Access to healthcare is especially affected, as people avoid hospitals and clinics, risking untreated illnesses and public health crises. Mixed status families live in constant anxiety, fearing separation. The psychological toll is immense, with children and adults living under chronic stress. The impact ripples outward. Local economies suffer and trust within communities erodes. Survival now often means avoiding all contact with authorities. When people are forced into the shadows, the whole community feels the consequences. Some states have passed laws to protect immigrants, like California's ban on federal agents entering non-public hospital areas without a warrant. Hospitals are training staff to safeguard patient privacy and reassure communities, but state protections have limits. Federal law still overrides state law, especially in immigration matters. Sanctuary states offer some relief, but can't fully shield residents from federal enforcement. Republican-led states, meanwhile, are mandating cooperation and restricting benefits. The result is a fragmented system. Immigrants' rights change dramatically across state lines. The future for immigrants now depends heavily on geography, with safety and opportunity varying widely. America's promise feels more fractured than ever. as millions navigate a shifting and uncertain landscape.